Hey everybody, what's up?
What's up? How's it going?
Welcome to Fake Plastic Tree Fingers, a podcast about Radiohead. This is a special bonus episode where we are going to react to the new album from The Smile, A
Yeah.
Light for Attracting Attention.
Yeah, I was super hyped for this album. I remember hearing
Mm-hmm.
You'll Never Work on Television Again, and I enjoyed it a lot. But then when we heard The Smoke, I was just kind of blown away because it was pretty spacious,
Yeah.
but it also felt kind of compact.
Hmm.
Not too open, but so I
Paradoxical, I feel
Yeah,
you. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so this was one of my most anticipated albums of the year. And so I was so excited for the release, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, in this video, we're going to be just kind of, giving our initial reactions. The album is just out, and I expect we'll do a longer, discussion of the album at some point further down the road on the podcast, as we've done now with all of the Radiohead albums. You can look back and all of our album by album, track by track breakdowns on those albums by Radiohead are out. But we just want to give an initial reaction to this record and, talk about the things that are really sticking out to us and that we're really enjoying about it and share that with you all. And we want to hear from you all in the comments below. So please do that and subscribe to our channel. So Brandon, you said you wrote a short review. Do you want to
Yeah,
share that?
yeah. So it's not very long. It's just kind of highlighting the things that I enjoyed the most about the album. So I've listened to it about 3 times at this point. And so I really enjoyed it. So far, and I really enjoyed how diverse it was. It didn't really just tackle one specific sound. It had a whole array of different sounds. With harder, heavier songs that sound like it could have been maybe on like Pablo Honey or something. To songs that just feel very open and eerie. It's very interesting how diverse it is without making it feel messy.
Yeah.
It's pretty cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed, the heavier songs such as "You'll Never Work on Television Again," which was the lead single.
Right.
I remember when that song came out, and I listened to it a bunch, and I loved it. I also really like the drums on The Opposite, which is one of my favorite parts of the album. I love the, it sounds like it could have been. It sounds a little jazzy,
Mm-hmm.
but it also sounds like it sounds very punky also.
Yeah.
And I especially liked We Don't Know What Tomorrow Brings. You know, it kind of reminds me of Jigsaw falling into place from In Rainbows.
Hmm.
It's pretty fast and it's pretty frantic.
Yeah. Well, I will say, can I, if I can kind of jump in and
Yeah.
share some thoughts too, and just kind of get a conversational. Um, the album In Rainbows jumped out to me, like in thinking about this record. The Radiohead record that it most made me think of in listening to this was In Rainbows.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
Yeah.
I think partly it's because of we talked about, I think within Rainbows there's a sort of minimalism to the sound,
Mhm.
and they seem to be, after Hail to the Thief, and there was a lot going on that record. They kind of seemed to strip things back, and it was almost like kind of a back to basics approach. And I
Mhm.
feel like that's that same aesthetic going on here, but it's like breaking it down, going minimalistic in order to really build something new. And
Mhm.
and of course, it does actually seem continuous to me with some of the things they did on, that Jonny and Thom did with Radiohead on A Moon-Shaped Pool, as well. So I feel like those two records are what it reminds me most of.
Yeah.
So is this your? Are you going to share? Have you shared your review, or are these your notes, or?
Yeah, these are just my notes.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, I definitely agree with you with the minimalism. The Smoke, which was the second single.
Mm-hmm.
It's very minimalistic. It's based just off of a couple notes on the bass,
Yeah.
and it just builds from there. It's really cool to see what you can do with just a couple notes on a bass guitar. So I love that song. That was the first song. That was the second song I heard off the album, and it really blew me away.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of the other spacey songs on here, like the Grower Panavision, which at first I liked, but I wasn't really all that into. And after listening to it for a while, it's pretty much become probably my favorite single off this album.
I think Panavision is brilliant. I think it's
Yeah.
one of the best things I've heard from any Radiohead folk. I mean, it to me is up there on par with some of Radiohead's best work.
Yeah,
it's really really good. I just find that song completely fascinating on a sonic level. Just wow,
Yeah,
so good.
It's so beautiful and eerie.
Yeah.
And it's a little creepy also.
Don't you think they just sound energized? Like Jonny,
they really do.
Jonny
Yeah.
and Thom just really sound like artistically energized on this record.
Yeah.
It's it just sounds like they've had this like burst of inspiration, with this project, and at some point we'll have to dig in and like listen to what they have to say about it themselves and where it where it came from.
Yeah, I know. They really do feel like they sound like they're just having a great time, and they maybe they were having trouble writing, and then they formed this little group, and they really just had a burst of inspiration. So I also love Speech Bubbles. I think that song is very beautiful. The organ, the strings, the sort of the quiet drums. That was one of the first songs that jumped out to me that wasn't a single. I really do love that song. And then there's also the spectacular closer that is Skirting on the Surface.
Yeah. We've done our response. You all can watch
Yeah.
our response video to that one, reaction video to that, if you want to see our kind of breakdown on that one. But
it's amazing.
It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there are also the more acoustic-based songs, such as "Freeing the Knowledge," which was the single released with the album announcement.
I hadn't heard "Freeing the Knowledge" until I listened to the album,
Yeah.
and I've listened to the album probably 5 or 6 times now. But I'm just blown away by "Freeing the Knowledge." It's like it's such a beautiful melody.
Yeah, it is. It's very beautiful.
In a way, it almost reminds me of some of the melodies off of the Bends, even though it's been such a long time since since that record. For there's so much water under the bridge for Thom and Jonny since the Bends, but Freeing the Knowledge, like the melody is just so gorgeous that it brings back just that being blown away by those gorgeous melodies on the Bends for me.
Yeah, I know, and that's another thing that I love about this album. I feel like it incorporates everything that Radiohead's done, but also adds a new spin to it that doesn't make it sound like a Radiohead album.
Yeah.
We even have like what was a Radiohead song, like Skirting on the Surface. So we have songs that sound like that maybe could have been off of Pablo Honey, like You'll Never Work on Television Again.
Right.
We have songs that sound like In Rainbows, and I feel like Speech Bubbles kind of sounds like something off of Moonshaped Pool. I think that song would have fit well on there. So I'm going to shout out one more song, which was Thin Thing, which I was so hyped about because I heard a little snippet of it. They put out this little snippet on their Instagram, and it blew me away. I was like, this guitar riff is so cool. It's so catchy. So it's really weird, though. And then Thom's vocals are like, he like synths them up. And it just sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And the drums are also really fun too. So that song's spectacular. I love it so much.
Yeah.
So
I would say big shout out to the guitar work on this record. Like I was very impressed, on my several listens by several of the tracks. Just the guitar work sounded very very inspired and fresh. I would say I felt that way on about The Opposite, and then it must have been about Speech Bubbles. I was listening to it again. My last listen to it was as I was mowing the grass today, so I couldn't see what tracks necessarily the names of the tracks, but it must have been Speech Bubbles because I know there was another song right about the middle that I was just really impressed by the guitar work on. I love the drumming. I mean, shout out to Tom Skinner, who I was not really familiar with before, but
Yeah.
just some great beats on this record. Really,
Yeah.
really, really cool stuff. This is just a really great record. I'm
Yeah.
very. I expect that I'll be really just enjoying this more and more over time, and I look forward to diving into it at some point. With our podcast, doing like a real track by track dive into it. At some point after we've listened to it,
Yeah.
10, 20, 30 times, right?
Yeah.
And really kind of let it all saturate and soak in. But it just really seems like a very interesting record. I haven't looked real closely at the artwork, but I kind of love the artwork.
I know.
I'm kind of a map guy, as you see right here with my Middle Earth map right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I really love the album cover.
Yeah, the album cover's pretty intriguing. It has a lot in it, and maybe this map means something.
Yeah,
Maybe
well, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. But anyway, this is there's a lot more that we'll have to say in later episodes, but we just wanted to kind of give a reaction here and let y'all know what we think, having listened to it, with it just being out and having listened to it several times. Pretty excited. I think this is a really great record from what I've heard so far. Do you agree, Brannick?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I was we really got all that I was hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
After hearing the first 4 singles, I was so hyped, and we really got the best thing possible. From spacious songs to bangers.
You want to give a top 3 tracks?
Yeah, let's see. So I don't think this is going to be any specific order, but
Okay.
I'll go with We Don't Know What Tomorrow Brings,
Mm-hmm.
Thin Thing, and Panavision.
All right, nice.
And also, I'm going to shout out Open the Floodgates real quickly because I forgot to mention that one, but I love that song as well.
Cool.
So
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Panavision, Freeing the Knowledge, and Skirting on the Surface. Of course, you might say those are safe choices because they're all singles, but I think those are fantastic songs. But overall, I think the record is just a really, really interesting one. It may be the best of. It may just end up being the best non Radiohead record from Radiohead members.
Yeah.
It's that good. So.
Yeah, I know, and
we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hope this isn't just a one-off thing. I think I'd love to hear them, maybe make a sequel to this album at some point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah,
for sure.
This is a great album, and I'm gonna be listening to it a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're listening to us on the podcast stream, and hey, don't forget to subscribe. And if you enjoyed this, leave us a rating and review on iTunes or wherever you listen. 5 stars, por favor. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk at you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.